wait, and they just wait until they're old enough and they drop out. We're trying to make a difference in some way. The next one, we got 6 of the efforts affect learning outcomes at least as much as does intellectual ability. IQ's not all it seems to be at times. I'm telling you what, I wasn't the smartest guy in the world, but you know what, I'm a semester away from being a doctor. And there were probably a lot of teachers that maybe were, I don't know, maybe given up on me or whatever. But I never gave up on myself, and I had teachers that did push me and had high expectations for me, and that I did develop a relationship with. So I think that the effort, and once we engage kids, then they're going to be putting forth effort in the work, and we engage them, and we develop a relationship, and they stay with us, and then they're able to go on, and if they want to go to college, they have that opportunity. If they want to go to work, they have that opportunity. If they want to go to some sort of technical school, they have that opportunity. But I think that effort affects learning outcomes as much, at least as much as does intellectual ability. And 5, the level and type of engagement will vary depending on their qualities. Teachers build into the work they provide students. This is huge. We work hard on this, and you'll see in a little bit on another slide, but we work on engagement and we work on design qualities, on designing lessons that are relevant to kids. And the last one. So, teachers can directly affect student learning through the invention of work that has those qualities that are most engaging to students. So teachers still are the most important people in that class because they can design lessons that are engaging for their students. Now, I know students still have a responsibility in the classroom. I'm not saying that's not the case, okay? But what I am saying is that as adults, we get into this business because we feel that education is a moral purpose, has a moral purpose to it. And we have all kinds of kids that come to us. Here in a couple of weeks, we'll have all kinds of kids that are going to come to us. And our teachers, I believe, here at Big Spring really care about kids. And I think that they understand that whenever they design work for their kids and they take ownership for their class, then I think that engaging their kids is going to make the difference. We have a curriculum, okay, it's aligned, it's rigorous, it's relevant, okay, but the thing that's most important is the way it's designed and it's delivered to the students. Okay, let's go to the next. So the vision that we have is we want to instill respect and pride. We want to empower a community of learners, staff, and students. And we want to unite and commit to educational excellence. We've had this vision going on 3 years now. Okay? Our core principles. We want to recruit and retain highly qualified staff. We want to maintain integrity and professionalism at all times. We want to provide a caring and safe environment. And that caring and safe environment is not only in the sense that we think about it, but in educational terms too. We want to ensure instructional time is valued. We want to provide ongoing, meaningful professional development. We want to design and deliver relevant and engaging instruction. Okay? So how are we going to do this? Okay, this is actually the 12 steps. Okay? This is where we go from abstract to concrete. Okay? All right. Number 1. Now, the model of education in the United States hasn't changed in over probably the last 100 years. It's very bureaucratic. this year, as we move forward, is, times have changed, and they're going to continue to change. So we're going to work at looking at becoming more of a learning organization. And that's by becoming and looking at systems thinking, becoming a fluid organization, becoming, not a command and control organization, but becoming one that has purpose and has vision and has value and has meaning. So we're going to continuously look at that at central office. We're going to work with our campus principals. They're going to work with their teachers. And we're going to look at systems and put in place systems. And when I talk about systems, we'll look at the systems in a little bit that specifically we're talking about. Okay? The second thing, we're going to continuously talk about our core business, and we're going to talk about our shared purpose, our values, and our vision. And remember, our core business deals with the work that we provide to kids. We're going to focus on student engagement. Okay? The way we define student engagement is this way. Student engagement starts with getting their attention, but it doesn't stop there. Okay? Student engagement is defined by having their attention, making sure they persist in their work, making sure they're committed to their work, and making sure that the work has value and meaning to them individually. 4 things. Gets their attention, making sure they persist in their work, making sure they're committed to the work, and making sure the work, whatever the work may be, has value and meaning to them. So we continuously provide staff development, professional growth in the area of student engagement. We're going to continue designing engaging lessons. We have a design cycle. Okay? Our design cycle works this way. We begin looking at a lesson. Okay? Our curriculum, we use C-Scope that's based off the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, which is the state mandated curriculum. The acronym is TEKS, T-E-K-S. We take that, okay, the TEKS, which C-Scope is a curriculum that aligns the TEKS. And the majority of school districts in the state uses C-Scope. Okay? And C-Scope breaks that down into units. Okay? The next thing that C-Scope does is it gives you units and then it gives you lessons. It gives teachers basically a game plan. So it has a scope and sequence. So that when we have a brand new teacher, they know where they're supposed to start. Because, the state tells us what we must teach. That's what curriculum is. The what. Okay? So C-Scope tells us where to start. It would be absurd for us to not use something like that. And so we use C-Scope. We teach the state mandated curriculum. We just don't, okay, let's just pick up in the air, arbitrarily say we're going to teach this today, teach that tomorrow, teach this, the next day. It's aligned, and it focuses on units. It focuses and tells you even how many days a unit should take. So it's very structured for those people that like structure. But we leave enough flexibility and creativity for teachers to use their creativity to use with their kids. And I'm going to explain how that's done. So the design cycle that we use is we start out with C-Scope. The teacher then looks at the lesson, and they begin by designing a who chart. Okay? The who chart is getting to know the kids, the characteristics of the kids. I have kids that, for example, it would be like this. If you were in my class, I would get to know you. Okay? I would make a who chart, and it would be like a T chart. Students, and I would put characteristics of who you are of my students. They like to work in groups. They like to visit with each other. They're visual learners. They like having examples. They like instructions read to them more than once. They like watching a video. They like having a model lesson. So on, okay? So that I know how you learn best. The next thing that is done is we have design quality. So I have your characteristics as a learner, then we have just 10 design qualities that I embed into the lesson. Okay? That is designing a lesson. So what we do is we design the lesson, then we plan the implementation. Design, plan the implementation. Planning the implementation is, if I'm going to put groups together, then I plan on how I'm going to group my kids, or what video I'm going to use, or what, if I'm going to have centers in the elementary, what centers I'm going to use, what manipulators I'm going to use. So I plan that implementation. Okay, that's the next step. After I plan my implementation, okay, then I think about how I'm going to measure the engagement, how I'm going to measure the achievement. Those are the next two things that are in the cycle. After that, then I analyze how well the lesson went. Okay? If the lesson went well, then I go, okay. If the lesson didn't go too well, then what we used to call reteach, then we call it just redesign the lesson. But we reteach it. And we think, okay, this didn't work out real well, so we have to redesign because we have to rethink the lesson again. But that's our design cycle. And it's very clear, we teach that to our teachers. But it takes time to train our staff on that. And we started doing that probably last year about January, really hitting hard, working with our staff on that. Okay? So that is what the design looks like. Remember I told you systems thinking? There are 6 critical systems that we have in place. Okay? And without going into much details, we have 6 systems that range from the directional system to the power and authority system. And these systems we're going to work on all year long. On what's our direction. Okay? How do we transmit knowledge? And that's a system. How do we recruit? How do we retain staff? That's a system. Okay? The next one? Put the next 2 up. We have standards. Each one of them has 12. Okay? The school standards are for the principals. And they're basically based on on a Likert scale. Okay? And there's 12 standards. So that they can measure how well their campuses are doing. And the classroom standards are pretty much the same as the school standards, but the classroom standards are for the teachers to measure how well their classrooms are doing. Now, these 2 are going to be put in place this year. I didn't do it last year because when you implement too much stuff, okay, it's overwhelming for folks. But we've been slowly progressing. This is my 3rd year to be superintendent, right? We started with C-Scope the first year. We started with the Safety Center last year. This year, we wanted to amp it up a little bit and start looking at our standards, start looking at our systems, start looking at more because our folks have more capacity now. Okay?
So we're going to do school and classroom?
Yes. Our principals now are going to have a way that they're going to assess themselves, and I'm going to be able to evaluate them on their capacities and capabilities. And it's going to be a reflective piece, but it's also going to be quantifiable by me. Okay? Now, I am not the type, I'm not a manager, okay? I'm not the type that believes that I can get anybody to do something, but I believe that I can influence people to want to do something, okay? So by talking to them and believing that they can be leader of leaders, because we believe that our teachers are leader of leaders, okay, in the classroom. They're leaders of the classroom, and the principals are the leaders of the teachers. The principals have capacities and capabilities that they're working on. I've already given this to them. They're already working on the reflective pieces that they're going to come back and visit with me, and I visit with them on their school standards and see how their campuses are doing. Okay, the next one. We're training teachers about being leaders in the classroom, and teaching them about engagement, teaching them about design. The next one. Each campus has a design team that designs the critical systems, that looks at the standards, that looks at the vision and the core principles and the core business. The district has a district design team that we look at how we design lessons and all of that. And these are groups of people that meet together and collaborate. We have campus curriculum coordinators at every campus, and we've restructured their roles for this year. And we've talked to the principals about that. And then number 12 is we've restructured the first and second year teacher academy. And I've already had our first meeting with our first year teacher academy for 2 days this week. And we have some awesome first year teachers that I've already met with for 2 days.